Well, good morning and welcome, esteemed speakers, community leaders, and members of the press. I'm Christian Brock, the Senior Advisor for Elected Officials to Protect America. I'm also an Air Force veteran of 25 years, and I'm happy to be standing with a few of my other veteran members here today as we talk about the extreme heat here in Arizona. As some of you may know, extreme heat kills more people every year than floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes combined. The average summer temperature in Phoenix during the peak months of June to August feature daily highs regularly exceeding 166 degrees. 106 degrees. 1 second. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. As you know, that the regular temperatures here in Arizona and Phoenix in particular can exceed 106 degrees during the day, and overnight temperatures range between 75 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. We are honored to be here in Phoenix with our partners Climate Action Campaign to highlight the efforts and the investments of Mayor Gallego, the City of Phoenix, and several state legislators who are with us today in the efforts to produce or invest in heat relief sites and cooling initiatives that have resulted. Lost audio. Okay. Well, I'm at the roll, so did you hit the record? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll capture it there. Relief efforts here in Phoenix that have resulted in a drop in heat-related deaths across Maricopa County. An extraordinary added benefit of this is that many of the people who were provided temporary shelters have now been found permanent housing. Mayor Gallego, the City Council and administrative team have made Phoenix, the extreme heat program, a model for other communities to adopt. In contrast, current federal government policies have forced families to struggle with rising utility bills, fluctuating gas prices, higher food costs, and worsening air quality. Cuts by the federal government to clean energy initiatives and infrastructure investments have negatively impacted Arizona families and businesses. Federal funding for these facilities and services could help save more lives during extreme heat events, but the actions by the current administration have hindered the climate crisis mitigation progress by putting people and their communities at higher risk. The administration is pursuing a double giveaway to fossil fuel industry, repealing limits on pollution, power plants, and directing nearly $700 million to taxpayer dollars to prop up local coal facilities and coal exports. They have already prioritized helping the oil and gas industry over making more profit over the investing and the protecting of Americans from extreme weather and inflammatory issues. Excuse me, my mouth is dry, that's how hot. The solution to protect our families from extreme heat and achieving energy security depends on the deployment of more renewable energy and continued energy efficiency and resiliency measures. We're excited to be here to hear more from our lawmakers on their efforts to protect the people of Arizona, and we ask the federal government to step up and protect all Americans from extreme weather and its causes. For the press, thank you for being here today. Afterwards, we'll have opportunities for questions, and I'll also have contacts for our comms director. But now it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce Mayor Kate Gallego.
All right. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to the elected officials to Protect Arizona for hosting this event on such an important topic. Thank you to my friends in the state legislature who are working hard on this issue because they understand the stakes are so high. This can be a life or death issue. Here in Phoenix, we are lucky to have 300 days of sunshine and picture perfect weather for more than half of the year, but our residents know summer heat well. Phoenix treats extreme heat as the public health emergency that it is. Each year, we learn from past summers and improve upon our heat relief efforts. My colleagues on the City Council and I had one goal in mind when we invested funding and staff power for heat relief over the last years: to save lives. Really important to note, at the Phoenix City Council, where we are Democrats, Republicans, Independent, we have been able to do many of our heat-related votes on a unanimous, bipartisan level. Phoenix was the first city in the country to establish a publicly funded, permanent Office of Heat Response and Mitigation. We plan for summer heat year-round. Not only is this office tasked with improving coordination internally and with external partners for heat relief, but it's also charged with leading the development of innovative strategies to make our city cooler and more comfortable. In 2024, for the first time in a decade, we saw a break in the trend of increasing heat deaths. This downward trend continued in 2025. It goes without saying, the numbers are still far too high. But this bend in the curve did not happen by accident. Last summer, we targeted areas with the highest heat-related emergency call to place our extended hour cooling centers and our first ever 24-hour cooling center. We saw a reduction in the number of times we needed to use our innovative cold water immersion treatment protocol for very severe heat stroke patients. Even one heat death is too many. Still, the dedication of countless city, nonprofit, faith-related organizations, and community leaders have helped us reduce the number of summer heat-related deaths over the last 2 years. Last summer, we hosted a 24/7 cooling center, once again staffed with on-the-ground support teams that help connect residents with resources and community services to end their homelessness, substance use, or housing instability. Our hardworking staff was able to connect 751 individuals with life-changing resources. We celebrate every life saved and every life changed for the better, and continue to fine-tune our efforts. Not only does the City of Phoenix provide that physical building, we also fund 24-hour security, staffing, increased custodial services, and other resources. We know that saving lives is one of the best investments we can make in our community. But I want to be clear, Phoenix cannot do this alone. More illnesses would be prevented and more lives saved if we had additional support from the state and federal government, as well as other cities in the valley. Heat does not stop at city borders. We're lucky to have strong leaders and champions in the room today, but this is a nonpartisan issue that should receive full political and financial support from across the spectrum. We take our role as a regional leader seriously. We coordinate with other cities across Maricopa Association of Governments to improve regional health heat resilience. We work with Maricopa County and community-based organizations who support cooling centers and connect residents with life-saving resources. I'm proud that this summer, thanks to a partnership with you, Mom, we're able to provide emergency shelters for families. It's been a pleasure to be able to meet some of these families who has helped and their young kids who are happy to share their new backpacks or fun new things they've learned. We also continue to push the frontiers of heat health innovation and have new resources to do so. We're in conversation with the leadership at ASU Health about opportunities to make their new downtown campus a hub for impact-driven heat health innovation. And a huge thank you to Senator Kuby, who worked to make sure we could protect that funding for ASU Health. As a desert city, climate resilience is in our nature. While Phoenix is the epitome of beautiful weather for half the year, we know extreme summer heat. We hit 118 degrees not once, but twice last year, breaking records for both days. That's one of the reasons this is so important, and that's one of the reasons I never take my eye off the ball. Even during winter, I focus on extreme heat and what we need to do to keep people safe. I'm so thankful that I have allies like the rest of the speakers today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Great words. Next up, I'd like to introduce State Senator Laura Kuby of District 8 and ASU Senior Global Futures Scientist.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, and thank you, Madam Mayor. You are a leading climate solutions expert in not just the state, but in the Southwest and in the country. You're walking the talk. You're showing with your investments and with your council's investments that you recognize that extreme heat is a public threat and leading the way in innovative responses. So thank you, elected officials to protect America, for coming to Arizona and shining a light on the work that the mayor and my legislative colleagues have been advancing to protect the health and well-being of Arizonans. I'm Lauren Kuby. I represent Legislative District 8, which includes the entirety of the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community, half of Mesa, parts of Mesa, parts of Phoenix, half of Scottsdale, and half of Tempe. So it's a very broad, expansive district. Here in Arizona, we don't have to imagine what climate change looks like. We're living it. We feel it every summer as temperatures climb higher, electricity bills rise, and families wonder whether they'll be safe in their own homes. Extreme heat is no longer an inconvenience. It's one of the deadliest weather hazards we face. It threatens our health, worsens air quality, and places the greatest burden on seniors, children, working families, and low-income communities. We cannot treat extreme heat as simply a weather event. It's a public health challenge, an education challenge, a housing challenge, and ultimately a human rights challenge. And it's not just in central and southern Arizona that we face extreme heat. This spring I met with high school students from Coconino High School in Flagstaff, and they wanted to share with me what it was like to begin the school year in classrooms that reached temperatures between 82 and 90 degrees. They told me they couldn't concentrate, that they were getting sick, that more fights were breaking out, and even a parent collapsed from the heat. Students in chemistry class, ever inventive, they built a swamp cooler to bring some relief to their fellow students and teachers. It's not right. No child should have to choose between their education and their safety. Those students reminded me that climate change is not some distant threat. It's affecting Arizona families across the state over longer and longer timeframes. Their experience story points to a much larger truth that extreme heat doesn't stop at the classroom door. Whether you're a student trying to learn, a senior on a fixed income, or a family in an apartment without adequate cooling, dangerous indoor temperatures can quickly become a matter of life and death. That's why we need policies to protect people whenever and wherever they live, learn, and work. So I was proud to partner with Attorney General Chris Mays on Senate Bill 1608 to establish Arizona's first statewide temperature habitability standard. Every Arizonan deserves a home that's safe to live in. Every renter deserves an apartment that's safe to live in, including protection from dangerous indoor temperatures during extreme heat. As our climate changes and our summers become hotter, safe housing is no longer just a housing issue, it is a public health issue, and no one should lose their life because their home becomes dangerously hot and the laws fail to protect them. But we also have to think beyond today's crisis and build lasting protections for future generations. That is why next session, in a legislature led by Democrats, I will reintroduce Arizona's Green Amendment to enshrine every Arizonan's constitutional right to clean air, clean water, and a healthy environment. These are not privileges reserved for a select few. They are fundamental rights that belong to every person in our state. The Green Amendment will ensure that the rights of Arizona families are given the same constitutional weight as the interests of powerful industries and moneyed interests. The Green Amendment will force polluters to pay for the damages they've caused. And this is not just happening in Arizona. We see Pennsylvania, we see Montana and New York passing the Green Amendment, and it's been used in polluter pays litigation. So this is what leadership looks like. Notice my colleagues, notice the community partners here. We show up, we listen to our communities, and we bring forward practical solutions that protect people's health, strengthen our communities, and prepare Arizona for the future. And these challenges before us are serious, and so is our commitment. We will continue fighting to ensure that every Arizonan has a safe place to live, a healthy environment in which to thrive, and protections that they deserve in a changing climate. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kuby. Next, we'll have House Representative Nancy Gutierrez of District 18.
Thank you. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nancy Gutierrez. I serve as the Assistant Minority Leader here in the Arizona State House, and I am a lifelong public school teacher in Tucson, Arizona. I'm here today to speak about climate change and its negative effect on our classrooms, not only in Phoenix, Tucson, and Yuma, but all over the state. I continue to receive dozens of emails from teachers telling me that their classrooms in northern Arizona begin at 85 degrees and over. Because of our climate crisis, northern Arizona temperatures have been on the rise over the past several years. Many of those buildings and homes do not have air conditioning because in the past it wasn't necessary. Now they have classrooms that are sweltering and there is no way to cool them except for those great innovative students. This is no way to begin a successful school year, and it will cost the state an incredible amount of money to remedy this situation for the future. I have myself started several school years in Tucson, Arizona with no air conditioning because the overworked system is old and in need of repair. And I can tell you, it is impossible to teach 30 students with no windows and no air conditioning. My students and I would become nauseous, terribly fatigued, and irritable. There is no relief in sight. Arizona hasn't funded our public buildings in order to make these changes, and that needs to stop. At the beginning of this school year, which starts this week for many students, we are seeing districts changing their bus routes in order to get more kids to school on the bus rather than walk. Last year, we heard about a story about a student walking to school in 112-degree heat. They passed out and then suffered third-degree burns on their body because they passed out. This is unacceptable.